Hello, welcome to FHE on the Road with Christine Stevenson. This podcast is designed to connect the people and the places from the past with your lives today, with 5-minute stories and facts from church history. Save these stories for when you are traveling through these areas to bring history to life. Okay, welcome back to FHE on the Road with Christine. I have not done a video for a couple weeks, and I'm excited to get back into it. It has been a really busy end of summer, and I have not even had a minute of quiet to be able to record these. So I'm hoping to get more out more often, but it's been a good summer. So hopefully this fall I could get a handle on more of these things because these stories are so awesome. These people are so incredible, and I love sharing about them. Today I'm going to talk about Lucy Mack Smith, just give some details about her life so you get a little bit of background in case you don't know anything about her. I know that she is one of the famous Latter-day Saint women from the early days of the church, but a lot of times we skip over some of the details of her life and tend to not look at her as a person, but only the mother of the prophet Joseph Smith, which was such an important role. But she is a very dynamic person, and it is so fun to learn a little bit more about her. So this is just some facts about her, and I will link some of the stories that I talk about. So I'm not going to be able to get into any of the stories, but hopefully I'll be able to soon. So Lucy Mack Smith was born in 1776 into a deeply religious home. Her father was Solomon Mack and her mother was Lydia Gates. They had 4 children. Lucy married Joseph Smith Sr. in 1796 and they had 10 children. Alvin, Hiram, Sophronia, Joseph Smith Jr., Samuel, Ephraim, William, Catherine, Don Carlos, and Lucy. So there were a lot of kids in that family. And I feel like a lot of times we hear about, for sure, Joseph and Hiram a little bit. But yeah, there were a lot more, and Alvin. We hear about the death of Alvin a lot. But yeah, there are a lot more kids in that family, and it's kind of fun to hear their stories and see how they connect and the powerful parts they played in the restoration of the church. So there's a lot to get into. So Lucy felt the importance of religion with her family. She took it upon herself to read the scriptures as a family and help her children come closer to God. It was through these efforts that Lucy's son, Joseph Smith Jr., was reading and studying the scriptures and was urged to ask God. I love that they talk about that in Saints. It took generations. It took hundreds of years to set up for the restoration of the gospel. And it was not by chance that Joseph Smith had the mother he had and the grandfather and grandmother he had. All of these were set up by our Heavenly Father to prepare the restoration of the gospel, to set up this foundation. And I love that. I love learning how the Lord works and how it is not by coincidence. So Lucy had a huge impact on her son seeking the guidance of God. Lucy joined the Presbyterian Church in Palmyra with her 3 oldest children. She wanted their father to join, but he would not. And it was fun. This summer we went out to Palmyra and the street where the Grandin building is on, and I'll talk about the Grandin building in a different podcast, but that same street, there is literally a big fancy church on every single corner of the street where the Grandin building is. So, and they're old, they're from the time of Joseph Smith, but it's interesting to see where it all started. And Lucy was an eyewitness of so many of the first events of the restoration of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. She hefted the gold plates and handled the Urim and Thummim, and I'll link the article where it talks about that. Lucy led a group of saints to Kirtland, Ohio. It is one of the coolest stories. I'll link that one also. She is such a force to be reckoned with. I love learning about Lucy Mack Smith. She accompanied her son Hiram Smith on a mission and gave a powerful testimony of the restoration of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The saints of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints loved Lucy and affectionately called her Mother Smith. She was crushed when her 2 sons, Joseph and Hiram, were killed. In that same summer, her son Samuel Smith passed away from complications of bringing the bodies of Joseph and Hiram back to Nauvoo. So Lucy lost 3 of her sons within that summer. And it is the saddest story, and I'll have to go into that in another podcast. When the majority of the church members migrated west to Salt Lake in 1846, Lucy chose not to go with the rest of the saints. Her health was declining and she chose to stay with her family members that were still in Nauvoo. She stayed with her daughter Lucy and her daughter-in-law Emma Smith and her grandchildren in Nauvoo. So that must have been a really, really hard decision for her. Lucy Mack Smith passed away in 1856. She was buried next to her husband, Joseph Smith Sr., in the Smith family cemetery in Nauvoo. And there's another really, really cool story connecting Lucy Mack Smith to the Michigan Temple, and I'll have to get into that another time. So there's a lot of really fun stories about Lucy Mack Smith. We were able to go to Nauvoo and go through Lucy Mack Smith's home, and I feel so strongly that she was such a powerful influence for good in her life. And I love that she's the mother of the prophet Joseph Smith. She worked really, really hard and was strong and determined, and she was willing to stand up for what was right. And I love learning about Lucy Mack Smith. She's such an amazing woman. Anyway, so hopefully you learned something about Lucy. I think she's awesome. Let me know what you think. Thanks. Thank you for listening to FHE on the road today. We hope you enjoyed what you've heard. Please like, subscribe, and share with anyone who'd be interested in these stories. Thanks.